All right, so the last part of our notes, I want you to be on page 69. I am then, when these notes, because this is going to be pretty short, I'm going to jump over to the homework and what I want you to do in the homework, and then just talk about a little bit about that. All right, so again, page 69, and we are looking at this graph. We're going to do a little review here. So we're going to be talking about where things are positive, like on A, we have domain and range, we have interval popping up. So I just want to remind you that when we look at a graph, we want to write our important points. So we're going to start with this point here, and we're starting over 3, up 4. So we always want to mark again where our graph starts and stops. Anytime it crosses the x-axis. And then any maxes or mins, so fingertips and elbows, which doesn't actually happen here. So those are our only important points that we have to mark right now. And now we're ready to talk. So where, starting with the A, is the graph, or on what intervals is f positive? So f, remember, is just another way of saying y. So where my y is positive, so that's this stretch from here to here. So when I give my answers going left to right, I want to start with the x value of -3 until I got to 1. At -3, if you notice its y value, that is a positive y value, so I should include it. And when I get to where it ends, this y value is not positive, nor is it negative, so I don't want to include it. The next one I'm going to answer is f of 6. So this says I should go to where x is 6. So if I go over 6 and down, I end up right there, and that y value is -2. But remember, we want to try to write it like this now. The next one is where we have our end behavior. So normally we would actually write the whole thing out. I don't want that color. And then you would fill this out, and so we would be looking to fill in the blank. So we want to go to where x is infinity, which is here, and we want to look at the y value and fill that in. So I'll be putting in -infinity. The next one we want to address is where are my y values smaller than or equal to -2. So what I'm going to do first is go to where y is -2. Right there, and I'm going to draw a line through it, and I want where the y's are -2. So the y's are going to be smaller than -2. Let me switch colors on this little stretch right here. And so if I'm just addressing this stretch, then this point, as we've already said, was 6, -2. There's a comma in there. And so where is it going to be smaller? It starts at 6. And then if I keep going, I'll hit infinity. And I've been saying smaller than -2, smaller than or equal to -2. So at this 6, it actually is -2. So I'll put a bracket, and then remember, infinity always has parentheses. Talking about the domain and the range, so just remember your domain is x. We want to scan left to right. So my smallest x is -3, and my biggest x is infinity. And my range are the y's. We want to scan up. So my smallest y is -infinity, and my biggest y is 4. Last part, let's write the equation. So writing the equation means when I'm done, it's going to look something like our graphing did. So I want to see something like this as my final answer. So I'll need to know what A is, and I'll need H and K. So H and K we can figure out pretty quickly. H and K is going to be this point right here. So wherever that beginning point moves to, left, right, up, down, that's going to be your H and K. And then we will need some other point. And so I actually have a couple points marked. I have 1, 0. I have 6 and -2. So I'm just going to use the 1 and 0. And now I'll go to the equation. And remember, just going back to that problem that was up here, I want it to look like this. So one more time, just highlighting it. So I'll need to know an A, an H, and a K. And what I'll do is start to take my values. You've seen this before. And in for y, I'm going to put 0. We will be doing some work to figure out the A. x is 1, and then I will subtract my h, which is -3, and then I'll add my k, which is 4. So just like before, we kind of want to hang out in this area right here, but more specifically, I want to get this down to a nice number. So here goes 0, here goes a. 1 subtracting -3 is just 1 plus 3, so I'll be taking the square root of 4. Again, I'm just working on this area right here. I can take the square root of 4, which is 2, and I'll write it as 2a this time, and then once I subtract my 4a over, and then solve for a, divide by 2, I get my a value of -2. Now I can write the equation. Keep the y as y, a will become -2, check mark, x minus -3, which becomes +3, and then I'll add my k. All right, let's talk about what your homework is going to be. So it's written down on your subplan page, but otherwise, I am asking you, just a reminder, for you to go to pages 41 through 42, and you're going to be doing these problems. And there will be an answer key posted. I just don't have it here when I made the video. And let's talk about some of those. So let me get to that point, or that page. Hold on. All right, so here I am on the page we're supposed to be on, which is page 45, I guess. I'm not quite sure. Whatever it said here. Page 41. I think I've done some changes. So page 41. And you're going to be doing problems 1 through 6. You can hold off on 7 and 8. The rest are some nice review problems. I'm not assigning these, but they're good practice for ICAN 13. But otherwise, 15, 16, 17. And this is where you're going to be writing the equation. So when you write the equation, because we only did one example in class, with the square root function, you're working with this. And with the cube root function, you'll be working, with this. So let's establish what h and k are and what x and y are so that you can plug them in to solve for x. So this point will be your h and k, and then use some other nice point like this one. This can be your xy. Here, this will be your hk, and then let this point be your xy. I will let you figure out those coordinates. In this one, I take it back. This is a review problem. So the actual equation here is this. So your hk is going to be right there. And let this point here be your xy. So these are new. And then this is review, but they all do the same thing, that once you plug your h and k, your x and y, you will spend the beginning of your time cleaning this area up, and then you'll solve for a. All right, so that's 15, 16. Oh, I take it back. Hold on. I wasn't assigning 17. I'm assigning 18. So sorry about that. So 18, when you have to mark your important points, so don't forget the arrows. Let's do that together. -, -, infinity, where it crosses the x-axis. And any fingertips or elbows, that does not happen here. So where is it negative? Where is it increasing? Where's your x5? You're going to write the equation, and then you're going to find the inverse. So the inverse, once you write the equation, just don't forget that you're going to switch your x and y around and then solve for y. So that means get y by itself. Real quick on the negative, just remember this is your negative stretch. And the equation you're going to work on here is this. So this is what I meant. Sorry about, again, that mistake earlier. So where is your HK versus your XY? So let's establish that. Let's switch colors here. So we can let, for instance, this, what's a nice point? We can let this point, this 2, 0, be our nice point of X and Y. we want our h and k to be, it's kind of hard to see, so that's why I'm going to tell you. It's going to be kind of right in the middle of this flat area, and it's going to be right there. So that point is going to be your HK. And then again, you can put your numbers in for here, do your math, so that, again, the bulk of your math is going to be right here, and then eventually solve for your H. All right, and remember, just to when you cube root, you will be pressing the math button on your calculator. That's it. Videos are done. Read everything that's on your subplans page, and you're good to go.